What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Evergreen Marketing Show. And as you tune in here, wherever you're tuning in from, if you're tuning in live, amazing. Welcome onto this week's session. This is week 3 of 3 in our business growth series. Now, if you're tuning into the recording on the podcast or on YouTube, amazing. Welcome back. And guys, this is the 3rd episode. So the first couple sessions that we did this month of October to help you build the business. The first one is on nailing your scorecard. And we gave you our scorecard template. Go grab that, y'all, in the live view page or the replay page, carrot.com/scorecard. You can grab that scorecard and that resource if you listen to this recorded. And then last week, we dove into an amazing topic that is really like what happens when you get overwhelmed. And I introduced my overwhelm eliminator process that I use with my coaching clients in our Epic program here at Carrot. Now, this week is on the delegation side of things. Okay, what happens when delegation doesn't work? And so as you pop into the comments box, as you're coming in live, pop in the comments box, y'all. Let me know, where are you calling in from? What's your name? And why are you here? What are you hoping to learn about delegation? I've got some questions for you as we go throughout this session, but I want to know, where are you calling in from? Who are you? What type of business do you run? Are you an investor? Are you an agent? Are you a home services business? And what are you here for to learn about delegation? Okay, the reason we're doing this series in October is as you get ready for the new year ahead, we want to help you make sure that your business is right before we dive into planning and set those goals for the next year ahead and start to map out the strategy. I want to make sure that you have a chance to pull back and go, okay, am I ready for growth? Am I ready to delegate? Can I get all the open loops and all the overwhelm off my lap now so I can start to think bigger again heading into the new year? And so that's why we're doing this, y'all. And normally, if you're just tuning in and this is the first episode you've ever listened to on the Evergreen Marketing Show, every single week at 11 o'clock Pacific time, we go live in our Facebook group and on YouTube. And then you can enjoy these every single week here on the podcast. So guys, popping in on the comments box, who are you? Where are you calling in from? And what is your biggest challenge with delegation? Have you tried to delegate before and it just hasn't worked? Okay. So while people come in here, we are going to be back on our regular scheduled Evergreen Marketing Shows next week. And next week, we're going to bring another marketing topic. So if you come to this show, if you're on the podcast or YouTube for marketing, amazing. We're going to be back to the regular scheduled program next week. And if you haven't, once again, the question we've been asking this month of October is, what happens when your marketing actually works, right? What happens when the marketing works and your business grows and that business starts to kind of take control over you? It starts to run away with you and drives overwhelm, and your business starts to grow, which is a blessing. You start to do deals, and then you go, man, I can't do it all myself. I need to have people help me. And so you get a VA or an EA, or you hire that first acquisitions person or dispo person or a transaction coordinator or whatever it is. You hire that first person, and then you pull back and go, man, I thought that when I delegated these tasks to that person, my life was going to become a lot easier. But what if it doesn't? What if it gets harder? What if, because of delegation and delegating the wrong way, and we're going to teach you the right way today, your business actually becomes harder and you become more defeated. And now you don't want to grow the business because you feel that growing the business means growing into more pain. Okay, that's what we're going to solve today, y'all. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dig into this session. We're going to dig into this session here that's about, it's called the Delegation Matrix. And what I want you guys to do is, if you're on live, ask questions. Okay, ask questions. I want this to be insanely interactive. There should be time towards the end for some good Q&A through the chat box. And if you're listening to this recorded or you're watching live and you're like, man, I want to dive into more business building topics like this. And we have another podcast here at Carrot in the Carrot Podcast Network called the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. And Entrepreneur Freedom Formula comes out once a week. And I just dive into these type of topics every single week on the mindset side, on the how do you lead more effectively side, and how to think about business, how to think about business strategy side. So go check out that podcast over wherever you listen to podcasts, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, or go to YouTube and look me up, Trevor Mock, and you'll find it over there. So guys, we're going to dig into the Delegation Matrix. And I'll pull up the iPad here. And welcome in expert land sellers and everyone else who's popping in here as well. What's up? I love it. I love it. Love it. From Brooklyn, New York. There's a model that I came up with a number of years ago called the Delegation Matrix. And as I've grown as an entrepreneur, what I've discovered is what we delegate and what we need to delegate in our business depends on the phase of the business that we're in. Okay. If you're a newer company, and I'm going to bring up my entrepreneur freedom formula growth levels here in a second, but if you're a newer company and you're just starting to get overwhelmed with tasks and you're like, man, I need some help. And you hire that first VA or someone local to help you with a couple things. The things that you delegate are going to be different than if you're doing $1 million a year or $2 million a year, like one of our Epic members that I was talking to yesterday. They grew in a big way this past year from about $750,000 to $2 million over the last 14 months because they unlocked delegation that allowed them to solve key problems in their business that they didn't have the time or energy to solve before. But they solved different things at that time. They're delegating different things than when they were a younger company. So we're going to talk today about delegation when delegation doesn't work, right? What happens when you've tried to delegate before and it just didn't work? It didn't work for you. You got defeated. It was something where you're like, man, I thought this was supposed to make my life easier and it hasn't. Well, the path that we're taking you on in every single session in this special series here in October, this business growth series, we're taking you on a path from where you currently are here to one of these destinations out here in the future. Now, we all have 4 paths, I call them. Okay, these 4 paths look something like this. Where we want to dip up into every so often, let's say it's once a year or once every couple of years, depending on what part of our life we're talking about. Excuse me. We want to dip up into transformation. Okay. So what is transformation? Now, if you've been on this series before, I've talked about this, but this is crazy important. Transformation is when we want to grow in some part of our lives or our business, we're truly becoming something different, right? In order for that client to go from a business that couldn't crack over $500,000 a year to now doing over $2 million a year, they personally had to transform as entrepreneurs. They personally had to take on a new identity and believe that they could do it and start to have the habits and the disciplines that a $2 million a year business would have. They had to transform their business from a business that just ran off of them to a business that had some people, a person or two, and a couple processes, right? They had to transform it, and that came from design. Right. The only way that we get to transforming something and moving towards that new exciting vision and getting out of that stagnant kind of rut that we might get into is we got to design it. We got to pull away and say, what the heck do I want? Right. What do I want in my business? What do I want in my life? And those are questions that we're always asking in our Epic program of like, what do you want? Let's design it. And now let's go get it. Okay. The next thing down here now is success. Okay, so this is a great spot to be. Success is an amazing spot to be. That's where things are working for you in general. It's not all perfect, and that doesn't mean that you're not having failures. You are, but in general, they're working for you. You set some goals. You're moving it in a good direction. For all intents and purposes, people around you would say, "Man, he or she's a success," and you're going, "Man, I'm proud of what I've been doing." Okay, so success is where we want to stay more often than not. But what happens is once we have a level of success, or you're stuck in a job and you don't have this new vision, you haven't designed this exciting new vision that's clear and you're pumped about, we'll go into a mode that is not a good mode. It's default mode. Okay, and I want to ask you guys, is anyone in default mode? Has anyone been stuck in default mode? And what default mode is the things that got you where you are in life or business, or the things that you just continue doing. It doesn't mean that there's not ideas that you have, or it doesn't mean that, like on this call here, you're going to bring in new ideas. There's going to be things that you can do that can help make your life or business better. But what happens is we start to stack ideas up. We start to stack this strategy up. We get a course over here. We dive into this training. We get into this YouTube video. We maybe even get a coach. And we're stacking all these things up. And we're like, man, I know what I need to do, but why am I not doing what I need to do? Why am I not doing those things? Okay. And we just stay in default. The reason we stay in default is because we're in indecision. Okay, it's not because we don't have the ideas or don't know or don't have the resources to get where we want to go. It's because we're not making a decision. We're not making a decision to make a change. Okay. So in order to stay above the line, I call it staying above the line up here. In order to stay above the line, we have to have a clear design or a clear vision for what we want to change in our business or life. Then we have to decide what we're going to do and what we're going to stop doing. When we don't do that, we stay in default because of indecision, and that leads us to frustration. Okay. Who on here is in frustration right now? Who on here is like, man, I've been working my butt off on my business. I'm just frustrated. And it might be frustrated with delegation, right? Which is what we're going to talk about today. It might be frustration with marketing. It might be frustration with, man, I've been doing this for a year. I've been doing this for 8 months. I've been doing this for 18 months, and I'm making a little headway, but man, it's not unlocking. Is this going to work? Right? Frustration, when we sit in frustration for too long, it leads us to drift. Okay. And that's what we want to stay away from, y'all. We don't want to drift. Drifting is stepping into our vices. Drifting is we're just trying to find a fix. Right? We're trying to find something that kind of feels good again because we're not getting the juice out of our business and our life, maybe because we're not making decisions or getting clear on an exciting design. That leads to failure. And what we're after here, guys, is we're after keeping you away from failure. We're after keeping you away from below the line. We want to keep you above the line. Okay. So this session here is to keep you above the line, make some decisions, and design the business you want, and then effectively delegate. And where I'm going to be teaching from today, this is directly out of my Epic coaching program. About a little over a year ago, a year and a half ago, I launched a higher level coaching program. People would come here to our Carrot Camp events, and they would have an amazing experience. And they would come back, and they would come back again. And one of our campers, Keith, came for 10 Carrot Camps. He's been for 10 Carrot Camps. And so we started to ask the questions like, why do people keep coming back? And the reason for that was they were getting the models, the mindset shifts, the network here in that one event per year, but they wanted something more. They wanted to be plugged into a group all year. They wanted to take those models and truly be able to grow with them throughout the years, not just have this inspiration for those 2 days. And so the entire program of Epic is built on the entrepreneur freedom formula. And what we're talking about today is getting back your energy and time. Okay. If you have a business and you feel like you're doing impactful work, you're like, I enjoy my work. Okay. I enjoy my work. I feel like it matters. I feel like I'm truly helping people. It's a fun challenge for me. I'm interested in the work. You've got some income coming in. It might be some consistent income. Maybe it's not the income that you want, but it's consistent, right? You're starting to get some consistency in revenue, but your business owns you. Okay, this is where you're working a lot of hours and you feel like, man, I'm just trying to catch up. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to stay on this hamster wheel, but the hamster wheel keeps moving faster and faster. You might be in the hustle and grind mode, right? Where you have purpose in your business. You feel like you're doing impactful work. You've got a decently clear vision where you want to go. You've got a business model that's working, right? You haven't done no deals, but you're doing something. It's working. You've got a strategy, a basic strategy. Hey, we're going to invest in this market, or we're going to be an agent in this market. And here's the business model we're going to do. And you've got some sort of marketing that's getting some leads in, right? That's great. But if we're in this mode, we're in hustle and grind mode. Now, that's okay. That's okay for a period of time. But if we're in hustle and grind mode for too long, just like if you picture what grinding is painful. Grinding is destructive. When we're in hustle and grind mode for too long, we get ground to a pulp. We hit that pain line and we want to give up. The way to get out of that is you continue around the entrepreneur freedom form, and now we need to get our energy and time back. And that's what we're going to focus on today is this part here. How do we delegate effectively? Okay. So this here is my business growth levels that goes with these models here, right? So purpose, consistent profits, energy, and time. As you grow your business, we need to do different things in each one of those three buckets. Okay. If I'm in the $0 to $100,000 range, I need to do different things on the strategy and different things on marketing and different things on delegation than if I'm way up here in the $1 to $3 million range. Okay. So guys, pop in the comments box. What bucket are you in your business? Are you in the first bucket, the 0 to 100K? Are you in 100K to 300K? Are you in 300K to a million to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30? Let me know. So that way, when we're diving in here, I know how I can best connect with you, talk with you, and drive you to the next step. Okay. But what I want to show here as it relates to delegation is as you grow your revenue and as your identity needs to shift and improve and adjust to be able to be the person who's capable of running a bigger business, we then need to start to delegate different things. Okay, where I see a lot of people get stuck is they start to make some revenue and they might get stuck around this spot, $250,000 or 3 or 4 or 500,000, and they're just working their butts off and they're getting some deals done, they're getting some revenue coming in, but they're going, man, if this is what this business is, I don't know that I want it because I feel like I'm just working all the time and I'm on this hamster wheel and I can't get out of it. Right. Where the next spot where a lot of people get stuck is right around $500,000 to $750,000 in revenue. Okay, they made it over the 300K, and one of the ways that they made it over it is they had to learn to start delegating some very basic things, low-level repeat tasks, maybe with an EA or a VA, or they had to delegate some of the work in one marketing channel. Maybe they're like, you know what, I know I want to do SEO, or I know I want to do PPC, or I know I want to do direct mail, but I need someone to help me with that. So you're going to hire an SEO agency, or you're going to hire a VA to help you do with some of those things to get you over the hump so you can do the work you need to do, which maybe is talking to sellers or selling the properties or whatever it is. Okay. But you can make it over the hump because you've delegated some things effectively. And now you're at 800,000. But here's the challenge now is you've got a bigger business. You've got some people doing some stuff for you, but you're getting a lot of your energy drained because you're in performer mode still. You're in performer mode, which means the business is thriving because you are performing at a high level in one or two key things in the business. Okay, you maybe are an amazing acquisitions person or negotiator, or you're maybe an amazing networker, and you're building that network of real estate agents or that network of referral partners. There's something that you're doing amazingly well as the founder to perform in that is getting you to that $800,000 to $1 million mark. Okay, but in order to get over it, and there's a client of mine in the Epic program is named Wyatt. When Wyatt joined the program, Wyatt was doing sub $500,000 a year. Okay, we just talked to him, and he's going to cross over $1.25 million this year. His goal for this year was $750,000. When he joined the program, I think he was doing around 300K. His challenge was he didn't know how to delegate. His challenge was he was a rugged individualist, and he was straight up a performer, and he did not know how to bring other people in to help him grow that business effectively. Because the thing that we a lot of times say as entrepreneurs, if it's got to be done right, it's got to be done by me. Right? Or no one, I can't delegate this thing. No one can do this as good as me. Wyatt started to work through some of those things, and he's cracking over the $1 million mark for his first time, 1.25 million in a not a very big market, y'all, up in Montana. And it's because he's nailing these things. Okay. So I want to ask for 100% participation. What's up, Michael? Dude, I haven't seen you forever, man. Good to see you. I want to ask you guys this question. I want 100% participation here. So if you heard those words go through your ear hole, I want you to answer back here, wherever you're on this, okay? So what's your biggest challenge when delegating and replacing yourself in draining activities, in energy draining activities? What's your biggest challenge? Okay, pop that through there. I'm going to watch those answers as they come through. Because those same things are things I've experienced. Those same things are first of all, they're insanely normal. Whatever's going through your mind on the challenges you've had with delegation, I can guarantee you others on this call have had the same challenge. So the way that I think is I go, well, shoot, if I'm having the problem and others have had the problem, has anyone ever grown through that? Has anyone ever got through that challenge and made it work? And so I look for those examples. I look for those examples of people who have, then I try to replicate what they've done, bring it back, upgrade my identity as a leader, upgrade my way I approach things, and I move into that new world, that new life. Okay. But one of the challenges is at the problems we feel is we're responsible for everything, or we feel like we are, right? We feel like we've got to wake up and check the email, and we've got to hop on those seller calls. And even though I've got someone helping me with this, I've got to check that. And even though I've got someone helping me with this, I've got to check to make sure they're doing the work here. I've got to sell the property. I've got to do this. I've got to make sure to call the plumber to fix that toilet. We're responsible for everything. Okay. And especially in the early days of the business, that's okay. It's okay that we're responsible for everything because it allows us to learn a lot about the business. Because if you don't know anything about a part of the business, it makes it a higher risk or harder to delegate off. Okay, so then once we start to bring in that first person or the second or third or fourth person, then oftentimes we just bring them in. We're like, man, I just need some help. I hired a person and they're here. I just need a warm body, or I need someone who can help. One of our Epic clients, Matt and Remy, they are absolutely crushing it in the Florida market. There are a couple dudes in their 20s, absolutely crushing it, and they're just executing like crazy. And they built a small team, and they're doing 5 to 10 deals a month, mostly from the MLS. And they're adding on some online with Carrot. And one thing that happened is they needed to hire an executive assistant or an assistant. And they did, but they just kind of hired the first warm body that came in that seemed like she was decent. The challenge that came is as the weeks and as the months went on, they realized that she wasn't the right person, but they weren't able to move past that person and move her out or coach her up because they weren't sure who owned what. They weren't sure if she was supposed to do this thing or who owns this or who's responsible for this. Everyone was kind of pointing at each other, assuming that the other person owned that or they knew that they were responsible for it. And the outcome wasn't happening. Okay, the outcome wasn't happening. So when that happens, we start to lose confidence. We lose confidence in our team. We lose confidence in ourselves as a leader to delegate. That team member loses confidence because when something doesn't go right, we then fly in. We ride in like a knight in shining armor on a white horse to save the day, right? And we go, oh, man, this isn't right. Let me dive in here now and fix this. But we keep that person in that spot, and maybe we don't know how to coach them well. Okay. Can anyone relate to any of these things I'm saying? Has anyone done any of these things that I'm talking about? And when that happens, they start to lose confidence in themselves because they're going, man, Trevor keeps kind of flying in and fixing this. I must need to go to him for all these things. And now more work comes back onto you. You take the work back. Okay. The work falls back on you. And oftentimes we keep that person in that place, but we still do a portion of their work. And then we start to be resentful. And we go, man, should I even have this person in this place in the first place? And then we stop delegating. Okay, we maybe eliminate that person, or maybe the person's still there, but we stop delegating things over to them, or we let them go, and then we just don't replace them with somebody because we go, man, that didn't work. Maybe I'm the only one who truly can do these things. All right, can anyone relate to any of these things? Okay, and I'm definitely going to answer questions. Amazing questions popping in here. So I'm going to read some of these comments that are coming in here, guys. So Expert Land, who can do it but me? Yeah, dude, that's an insanely common one. I'm going to talk about how to get over that today. God's Country Real Estate, time drain from people you're delegating to. Oh my gosh, right? And oftentimes the time drain is because we're not delegating the right way. I'm going to show you guys some ways to help fix that. Ronald, creating SOPs and systems for new hires. Dude, this training isn't about this. I do it in our Epic program, but you can use AI and ChatGPT to go through and massively help with the training. But I'm going to show you and give you my template for SOPs and training on this call. Okay. Bill, questioning whether I can count on the freelancer to provide a reliable service. I tried to design my own website, which led to overwhelm. Yeah. So, dude, Bill, that's where work with Carrot, man. Have us do it for you or with you. Leverage our platform. It's proven that we have services where we can do that. So part of the challenge there is hiring the wrong person to get the outcome that you want. Okay. God's Country. What about hiring 3 people all the time? More efficient to train 3 instead of 1. Best fit will emerge. Quite possibly, right? That's a mindset that works, I think, in a highly competitive role like a sales role. Okay. I would probably never do that for an executive assistant or a transaction coordinator or something like that. But if it's sales and you have enough leads to get into all those people, that's only if you have enough leads. If you don't have enough leads, that's a terrible idea. But if you have enough leads, yeah, maybe you would do 2 or 3. Okay. Awesome, man. For sure. Yeah. And Ronald, we're going to be, since you're in the Epic program now as a brand new Epic member, we're going to be helping you with the SOPs. Okay, we've got an entire company dashboard that's going to house your SOPs, and we're going to help you with all those to get it going, man. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so you stop delegating and it doesn't work. So here's my journey with it, guys, and I'm going to walk you through my models, give you a couple worksheets, and give you my SOP template actually as well. So this was the extent of the Carrot team about a year or so into, maybe even a year and a half into the business. My previous companies before Carrot, I had no employees. I had some outsourced work. I had a 1099 assistant prior to Carrot. I had a business partner in each one of my companies, but I feared taking the leap to hire employees. Okay, part of the fear was, what if it doesn't work? Part of the fear was, oh my gosh, there's the expense now that I've got to invest in there. Part of the fear was, what if they can't do the work as good as me? Then I've got to let them go. But the challenge happened is as Carrot started to grow, as we were solving our members' problems so well, I became overwhelmed with tasks. I could no longer drive my vision forward and serve my clients the way that I wanted to serve them. So I'm like, okay, I've got to get over this mindset of hiring a team, and that team equals pain, and that team equals me being bogged down and not being able to do my work. I need to shift my mindset. I need to shift my mindset to say, when I have the right people, and that's the key, when I have the right people and I train them the right way, we'll be able to accomplish far more together than me alone. When I have the right people and I train them the right way, we're going to be able to accomplish far more together than we are alone. And I started to step into that new mindset, step out of the mindset of it's hard to find great people. And I started to step into the mindset to go, where are the great people? Let me find them. Okay. And this was my team. I had my assistant, that's Jen on the left. Jake was our first customer support rep. He's the big guy on the left of this picture, the big tall guy. And then Chris, my CTO, who became my co-founder, right next to him. And then on the other side, on the right side, is Alex. He was my right-hand man on the marketing side and a bunch of other things. That was the extent to it. We got to about $1 million a year in revenue with that team. You don't have to have a big team. Okay. The challenges started to pop up, though, is I would fly in and fix things all the time. I would delegate things, and sometimes I'd nail it and sometimes I wouldn't. And I started to pull back and ask the question, why and when do certain things work when I delegate, and why and when do certain things not work when I delegate? Because there's a clear distinction. I tried to delegate this thing, and it led to frustration. It led to me taking the task back. It led to me having that mindset that you guys were popping in there saying, man, I don't have the time to train them, and I don't have the confidence that they can do it as good as me, so I'm just going to take that back, and maybe that's something I don't delegate. Okay. But then I looked at the other things and I thought, well, shoot, why is this working over here? Why did that work amazingly well? Why was it that that person could confidently step into that work, that they're crushing it, they're doing it better than I could ever do it? And as I looked at those dichotomies, I said, well, let me ask and break down, what did I do in those situations differently? And usually what I did, I'm going to walk you through the exact difference in what I did. I'm going to walk you through my four-box method that explains what I did wrong and what I did right, and how you can do it wrong, right versus wrong. It was a very, very clear difference in how I delegated. So I started to ask the question, well, what if I started to delegate more this way? Okay, but the challenge that I ran into is, as I was using that method and as the business grew, I had to get good at delegating different things once again. I'm going to show you what those different things are. So the promise on the rest of this training, guys, is clarity on who owns what. Okay, confident delegation path. Successfully replace yourself in the areas that you want to replace yourself in, the areas that drain your energy. Move into productive work, like work that gives you energy and drives forward revenue in the business. And I'm going to show you the beginner strategy if it's just you and a VA, and I'm going to show you the advanced strategy if you have 50 plus employees, like myself. We have one Epic member in our Epic coaching program, Eric Martin. They have over 40 employees. They do 40 deals a month, and he's been really latching onto these methods and helped them scale. And when we started working with them, I think they're about 15 to 18 employees, and now they're over 40, and they're just cranking. And they moved into a new market into Cincinnati just recently. So the first mindset that I want you to shift into, and that I had to shift into, is recognizing and realizing that delegation changes at the different revenue levels, almost like a ladder. Okay, so at the bottom, the delegation is really around tasks. Okay, so from 0 to, let's say, $300,000 a year in revenue, you're pretty much exclusively going to delegate tasks. What are those tasks? That could be email, right? It could be sending transaction documents to title. It could be uploading a video. It could be a million different things there, right? Getting this contract out for signature. It could be some of the VA type of work on your Carrot site, having them upload the logo or upload new testimonials or dial in some of the content. Like it's tasks usually. Right? You have a plan. There's a thing you want to do. You're doing the thing, but you ran out of time, and now you need someone to do the thing that you've been doing. Okay. So then as we grow, if we stay in that mindset of only delegating tasks, then we get stuck, because as you grow, more tasks pile up, and it's going to be harder for you to delegate more tasks, because it's like you become the spoke of this wheel. Okay, at the start, if you're delegating tasks to this one person over here, right, there's just one person. This is you in the middle, and this is them. Great, that works. You delegate it over, they bring it back to you. If you have feedback, you get it back over to them, then it comes back to you. Awesome, that works. But as the business grows, and maybe you've got someone handling some admin stuff, and then someone handling dispo, and then someone handling acquisitions, and someone handling your marketing work, what happens now is you delegate off to each one of these people, they bounce it back, and then you give feedback and then it bounces back. You really can only do that to 3, 4, 5 people before you become massively overwhelmed. Okay, so then we have to start to delegate projects as it goes. We have to find people who we have confidence in who can do the task, who can delegate the tasks. So we might say, hey, I want to grow my ranking in Google on Carrot from this to this. I understand the basic strategies. I bought Carrot's training course on this or whatever it is. But you know what? I'm going to delegate the work of that to somebody else where there's a bunch of tasks. Now, you just have to have that conversation with that one person. They're going to do all the other tasks involved in that. Okay, you gave them the outcome, right? As you grow to get up over 1 million, and then from 1 to 3, we have to now not just delegate projects, because if we're just delegating projects to people all the time, now we're getting all these project communications bouncing back to us. We get overwhelmed. We can't do the work again. We can't do the work again. We get overwhelmed. We hit the pain line. We want to walk back and we want to get out of the pain. And oftentimes that manifests as us going back to what's comfortable. Okay, we go, man, I'm doing $1 million a year and I just feel wiped out. I feel like I liked my business better when it did $300,000 a year. Okay. It's not because the business is better at $300,000 a year. It's because you haven't stepped in to upgrade your identity to learn now how to delegate at the next level, how to lead at the next level. When you do, it unlocks, and it's amazing. So from 1 to 3 million, we need to delegate results. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That's where we probably are going to have our first leader or a person kind of leading a part of the company. Now, it doesn't have to be a big, highly paid VP or something like that. It could literally be a person who is just leading acquisitions. They're the person who is in charge and accountable to make sure that the phone calls happen, that the amount of offers that need to happen, and that they're accountable to a number. Okay, you're delegating results. You're saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Person here, we have a goal as a company, and acquisitions is a really important part of it. And here's some goals around acquisitions I want to set. I want to have us do 5 deals a month, and that means we need to make 50 offers a month or whatever it is. Okay, we've got this person over here, or I'm going to be doing marketing, but I need you to be taking calls. I'll take calls once a week, or I'll take every 10th call, or I'll take every 5th call, or I'll take every 4th call, or whatever it is, whatever gives you energy. But I need you owning this. I need you reporting the scorecard, you coming up with a plan to drive forward and how to make this better. Okay. And incentivize them in those results. Now, as you grow and that person steps in and they're the right person, you've trained them, and maybe you've gone through 2 or 3 people to find the right one. Now we need to delegate strategy. And this is where I had the biggest challenge. This is where I had the biggest challenge, was delegating strategy. Because strategy now means as you cross up over the 3 million, get up towards the 10 or even cross over the 10 million, which I know there's not a lot of y'all on this call that are at that revenue level will kind of cast a vision for where you can go. What happens now is you become the bottleneck on strategy. Okay, because strategy is, where are we going in the future? Okay, what is our business strategy? What's our business plan? How are we going to go accomplish those goals? Do we go to a new market? Do we add a new business vertical? Do we do this or do we do that? Oftentimes then we get too bogged down to lead strategy and all those things. So we maybe need to hire a person who's going to lead strategy and marketing. They're going to be my marketing director, or they're going to be my VP of marketing. They're going to be my VP of acquisitions or director of acquisitions or whatever it is. Okay, pick the area that drains your energy the most, that needs someone to own and drive, and you then go into the areas that give you the most energy. Last here is vision. This is something that many of you may aspire to and many of you may not. But when you delegate vision, what this is where you get to pull away from the company finally, where it's a self-managing business. One of the main things that we drive towards in my Epic program that I'm always working on with my coaching clients is I want you to move towards a self-managing business. A business that has the ability to run and grow by itself and gives you the ability to be involved in that business as much or as little as you want to be. It's mainly the things that gives you energy. Okay. So that's where then you may delegate vision off to a CEO, hire a CEO, have the person lead it. Now you're going to go do something else. Okay. But once again, You may be pumped to stay at this level. You may be pumped to stay at this level. There's no right or wrong. You get to choose. Okay. So the first resource, y'all, and we're going to give you the entire slide deck here, so you can print these off. You can put them on your iPad, like I've got, and use these resources. Okay. These resources came directly out of my Epic coaching program. It's the program. This program is for the people who have figured out how to get a business going and there's consistent revenue. Okay. You're bringing in somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 at the bare minimum, meaning there's consistency in your business. You've got some sort of budget to now get some things delegated off. Okay. And you want to grow the business. Okay. You want to grow the business to support your vision, support your life, support the impact that you want to make, but you don't want to grow your time with it, right? You want to have freedom. You want to get that time and energy back. Okay. So if that's you and you're doing 250,000, 300,000 or more, and you want to build that business of freedom and impact, we do have a few more spots open in our coaching program for the rest of the year. Right now, there's about 30 people in it. They're amazing ballers. About half the group is between 800,000 and, let's say, 5 million. And then you've got amazing people that are doing about 350 to 700,000, and a couple that are up there close to and or north of eight figures. Okay, so our aim is to help you get where you want to go, not where other people think you should go. So we do have a resource. There's probably a link below the video, the live view page, I think. You can set up a discovery call with Brent or Pete on our team and just see if the program is a fit, see if you qualify. And they'll walk you through those business growth levels to see where is your current pain line, where's the challenge you're going through. And then they'll start to map out, well, here's where you need to go. And then you can choose, hey, is Epic going to help you get you there quicker? Amazing if it is. If it's not, you've at least got a basic path to help you get there. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do before we delegate is we have to be clear, what are we delegating? Okay. And I really love this drip matrix. This came from my coach, Dan Martell, in the book, Buy Back Your Time. And I love it because it's on two continuums. You've got energy and you've got money. Okay, you've got energy, which is what things give you energy, the things that give you energy or drain your energy. And then you've got money, which is what drives revenue versus doesn't drive revenue. Our aim is to try to spend as much time as we can getting up to this spot where we're doing more of the things that give us energy and produce value and produce revenue. This is where we're trying to optimize to. But it usually kind of looks like this. It looks like first we're going to start to delegate things that drain our energy and don't really drive revenue. They just got to get done by somebody, but man, it can't be me. Then we go up here to go, cool, this stuff drives revenue, but drains my energy. That might be dispositions. That might be acquisitions. That might be marketing. You're like, man, I know we need to do marketing, but I don't want to do it. It drains my energy. So we need to replace ourselves in those key areas that drain our energy. Okay, but drive revenue. Because if we don't, then we're going to lead ourselves to burnout. Then we'll avoid the very activities that drive our business forward. And we don't want to get to that spot. Okay. So then next, after we've replaced ourselves, now we have to say, well, cool, I've got some time back on my schedule. What do I do with it? What do I do with this extra time? Well, we need to intentionally now replace it with the things that give us energy and produce value. Okay. And we can talk about more of that. These are the things we dive deep on in the Epic program. So I just want you to think about this worksheet. We're not going to do the whole worksheet right now, but you might once a quarter or once a month pull up the drip matrix and ask yourself, what drains your energy and just really doesn't make any money? Make the big list of stuff. That's the very first stuff you need to start to delegate. Okay, that's the stuff you can delegate to an assistant, to a VA, to someone that's there for the lowest cost, the easiest, and then that allows you to trade up your time into things that drive more value. Okay, and then once you've delegated those off, or the majority of those, then I want you to pick one thing a quarter that drives value or revenue for the business, but man, it drains you. Okay, guys, and pop in the comments box here. What's something that drives value for your business? It drives revenue, but man, it drains your energy. Okay, pop in the comments box. What are those examples for you? I'll give an example from one of our Epic members. Okay, they're really good at acquisitions. Right? They can talk to sellers amazingly well and negotiate really good, but they're like, man, I like hopping on a seller call every now and then, but I don't want to be the person who has to do all the seller calls every day. It just feels like it drains my energy when I know that I am the one that has to return every call, that I'm the one that when I go on vacation, I've either got to make the calls or I know I'm losing money. Okay. I don't like that I'm the one that has to report the scorecard, that I'm the one that has the quota. I'd love to do some calls every now and then because that gives me energy, but I don't want to have to be the one that owns it. but I've got some revenue coming in and I can hire someone to do that. Okay, so I want you to pick one thing a quarter that you're doing that drains your energy but drives the business forward. It gives you revenue. And I want you to work on the process I'm about to show you to transition ownership of that over to them confidently. Then you're going to go, man, I just got 10 hours of work of my week back. And now I'm going to go, great. What one of these things over here that gives me energy and drives revenue for my business, the things that's your unique ability. That's the stuff you're the best at, that gives you joy, that lights you up, and you get paid very well to do. Okay. Then I'm going to go, great. I'm going to now replace that 10 hours with something over here. Okay. That's how we step into a business that gives us more energy than it takes, that drives us towards a business of freedom and impact. Bill Golden says PPC and social online marketing. Heck yeah, dude. Like that's something that's a perfect one. Drives the business forward, but drains your energy. I would ask you, which one of those drives the business forward the most and drains your energy the most? That's the one that I'm going to have you work on this process with now to delegate off to confidently. Okay. So once you've picked one of those things, here's the next step. The next step now is, and this is where people get it wrong, is if I were to put a 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and before I do this, guys, pop in the comments box. Are y'all resonating with this training? Are you guys resonating so far with where I'm going? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because now the rubber is going to meet the road pretty heavily. This is where it's going to get really, really tactical, really fast, which is a good thing if you're looking to solve this problem. Are you guys enjoying this style of training? Let me know in the comments box. So the thing that happens when we do delegation right versus wrong is the wrong route is we skip from step 1 to step 4. Now, what does that mean? Step 1 to step 4. That means I do this thing. Okay, I'm doing this thing. Okay, and now I hired you. You're in here. I've got you. I feel that delegation is having you sit next to me, and I'm going to do the thing and show it to you and go, cool. You got it. I've got a process up in Google Drive. Awesome. Good to go. Any questions? Well, not really. Okay, cool. Awesome. If you have any questions or need anything, let me know. I'm here. And then you might meet weekly. You maybe don't. You maybe forget some of them. And then all of a sudden you're starting to wonder, are they doing the work? Is it being done right? Is this working? And then you fear sometimes to reach out to them and say, hey, are you doing it? Because you don't want to feel like you're micromanaging them, or you do, and they feel like they're being micromanaged, right? That's what happens there is we are doing the work. We hire a person and we say, cool, you start doing this thing now. Okay. You start doing this thing now. You start owning this thing. Now you own this thing. All right. You own this thing, not me. And we then hope and pray that them owning it is going to work. And that very rarely works. Okay. So what we need to do instead is we need to go around the horn clockwise. Okay. We need to go around the horn clockwise. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do this. And then I'm going to give you another model. I'm going to go a little bit over time today. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. I'm going to give you another model. I'm going to give you my process template. Okay. Happy to show you guys any things and any questions. And if you have a team, especially let's say more than a couple people, this part here, RACI, this worksheet I'm going to give you could completely change the way you lead forever. Okay, it could completely change the way you lead forever. So hang on here. I'm going to get to that here in a second. All right, so what we need to do is this. We need to, first of all, go from, let me erase this thing here. This application changed. It used to be if I tapped the line, the whole line deleted, but it doesn't do that now. So it starts with you owning, hey, I own this thing right now. I'm doing this thing. Okay. Now I hire a person. The very first step is I'm trying to transition ownership of that thing from me to you. And for me, ownership could be two different things. Ownership it could be the responsibility, right? Ownership could be who's responsible for actually doing the work. Okay, that's one way to talk about ownership is, well, shoot, I'm still going to be the one that's accountable to the result, but you know what? I want them to do the work. Okay, you have to be clear what it is that you're handing off. Am I handing off just the work and the execution of the work, but I still am responsible or I'm still accountable for the result? Or do I want them to be actually accountable for the result? That's the first step. We have to ask, what am I actually transitioning over to you? And oftentimes we aren't clear with our team members and we're not even clear ourselves. Okay. So the end result doesn't happen. We go, why didn't the end result happen? We blame it on them or whatever it is. We maybe even blame it ourselves. We don't know why it didn't work. That's the first thing. What are we actually transitioning? Am I transitioning over the responsibility of doing the work, but I own it still, the outcome, or I actually transferring over the accountability of the result? Like they've got to make a plan to get the thing happen. But I hire the person. I've decided what I'm transitioning. I want to have them shadow me now. Okay. So this is where, like, if you think of McDonald's, or any of those fast food restaurants who have nailed process and nailed the ability to scale quality, consistent quality, right? It's because someone, when they're hired, there's some processes here. And I want to be able to pull back and relieve you from you having to create processes. If you're like, dude, I don't want to create the process, I hate it. Great. I'm going to show you how you don't have to create any of the processes. I'm going to show you how to have the team member create the process and have them own them for you. Okay. So McDonald's, that person is going to stand next to you. You're going to show them, cool, here's how you do the thing on the thing to take the orders. And they're going to watch you do it a few times, and they're looking over your shoulder. You explain to them what you're doing. You go, hey, any questions? They're like, no, we're good. Cool. And then eventually you step back. So they're shadowing you. You do the work. Then eventually you step back and go, awesome. So let's make sure that there's a process documented on how to do that thing that I just showed you, how to cook the French fries or how to cook this effectively, in case you have any questions. Okay. So here is where I want to record what I just did and document it. Okay. So this, though, if you want to hack on how to create processes effectively without you doing them, have that employee create the process. Give them this template I'm going to give you today. Give them the template and say, I want the process to kind of follow this template, okay? And send them, if you're in the Epic program, send them through our training on how to create repeatable processes, and just have the employee go through that. But have them record you doing the thing. Okay, literally have them take out the phone, even if it's something, if it's talking with the seller or if it's doing this thing, and just have them record it. Or if it's on your computer, use loom.com. It's a free software, loom.com. Have them record it. Okay. And then go, cool. Can you record that thing? Now make it a documentation for me. Okay. Put it on a document, bring it back to me. You look at it, you review it. Amazing. Awesome. It looks good. Now what I want to do is we're going to do it together. Okay, now we do together. Sweet. So rather than you just watching me, I'm going to do it a little bit. Then I'm going to ask you, hey, what do you think I should do next? And then they're going to give it to me. And if they're off, I'm going to coach them a little bit. And hey, cool, what do you think I should do next now? Great. Now I'm going to flip roles with them. Hey, awesome. Why don't you push the button this time? Or why don't you do the thing this time? Or why don't you send the email to the title company this time? Or you know what? Why don't you set up that appointment with the seller this time? Yeah, I'll listen. I'll just kind of coach you and see if there's anything we can adjust. If there's any questions they have, go back to the process that they just created and have them update the process. You're building confidence now that what they're doing is going to be the standard process you want them to do. After you see them doing it enough times really, really well, now we go, cool. We're going to review and refine that process. Like I said, so review and refine process. This is helping give you confidence that the route they're going to go is going to deliver the outcome. Now we go, great. We're switching from you owning this thing now. Up here, we're switching from you owning it to them owning it. Okay. So it's going to go right from here to here, which this is where the magic starts to happen. So now you do, and I'm not talking you, I'm talking the employee. Hey, employee, you get to do this thing now. I'm not doing it now. It's your job to do it. But you know what? I'm going to shadow you. Okay. And depending on the complexity of this thing, you might shadow them once, you might shadow them 10 times. If it's a seller call, amazing, awesome, Johnny, you've got this now. I'm going to listen in, and we're going to do a game tape review. That's a process I've got in our Epic program. We're going to do a game tape review once a week or once a day of a few of your calls. I'm going to coach you. We're going to adjust, and I'm just going to work with you. I'm going to manage you based on the scorecard now. Okay. Now, this is where we really start to dig in and go, okay, we're going to lock that playbook in now. Okay. Lock in the playbook. This is where you shadowed them. As you guys see gaps in the process, you're going to ask them those questions. Hey, where in the process is there a break? Go update the process. What you're doing is you're documenting, refining, and then locking in the process, but you're coaching them along the way. After you see them do it enough, you're like, dude, you're crushing it. You're doing this. I just cheer you on now, and I'm going to manage you based on the scorecard, and we're going to meet once a week or whatever that is. Okay, guys, this may feel and sound like a lot of work. Someone up above said, well, how do I have the time to do it? How do you not have the time to do this? If you continue to do work the way that you're continuing to do it, if you continue to do the work yourself, you're doing 10 times more work than it would be to slow down a little bit and train a person effectively so they can confidently have that and do it. Now, this is where they own it now, and they get to innovate and refine. Now they eventually may get to do the same process with someone else and delegate it off. Okay, guys, does this make sense? This is completely different. When I look back at the way that I delegated ineffectively before, I hired the person, we sat down for a little bit, I made a basic crappy process, I gave it to them, watched them do it a couple times, good, you're good to go, let me know if you have any questions. The process never got updated. The process probably never got used after that first week or two. We all got frustrated. I dove in and tried to fix their things, and eventually we all got frustrated and lost trust. Right. But when we go this route, it's a true partnership. We're working together on moving towards clarity and building an amazing process we're both confident in. And then I truly hand it off. And then I manage by scorecard and manage by the weekly meeting. Okay, so we don't have a ton of time to dive into all of these parts here. I did do a video actually on my YouTube channel where I dive deep on the RACI method. Okay, but the key concept here is this. Now, what I'm going to do first, though, since we are nearing the hour, is I want to invite you that if you want to grow through these challenges in your business more effectively, if you want to grow through and not just get frustrated and hit those pain lines and either stay in default mode and get frustrated and step into your vices and just get even more frustrated and eventually maybe give up the business or move towards failure. Or if you want to stay in that pain line and go, man, I'm just going to settle for when it was easier. It's been hard at $750,000. I'm going to step back and settle at the 350 because, I could live a greater life and make this is more comfortable for me here. If you want to grow through that and say it is possible to run a business that fuels your dreams, it is possible to run a business that you enjoy more often than not, it is possible to run a business where there's amazing people that drive the business forward and you're doing more of the things that give you energy, it's possible. You just have to be able to have the right process, the right people in your life, the right coaching to help you get there, to think differently and do differently. Okay, so the Epic program, y'all, like, so there's 30 of us in the program right now. It's the only program in Carrot where you work directly with me. There's a quarterly one-on-one call with me. We do 4 events a year, 2 of them virtual, called the mid sessions at the quarters, to help you get out of the tactics and into strategy to get ready. We do 2 in-person events. We just wrapped up one in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where this event right here was, where we get out of tactics, up into strategy, up into vision, and really casting that vision, designing that business, designing that life that you want. But you're in a group with other amazing people. I mean, these are people who have similar values, similar ethics, have similar desires, passions, challenges, but have different expertises where you get to share. You get to do deals together. You get to share life and business together. And I challenge y'all. But go to carrot.com/epic, or right here, grab the QR code and grab a discovery call with Brent or Pete on my team. Okay, once again, they're going to walk you through the business growth levels. They're going to ask you some questions, figure out what those pain lines are, figure out what your goals are, and then they're just going to walk you through some next steps. And if you qualify for Epic, amazing. I'd be pumped to work with you to close out this year strong and move into the new year. If not, and let's say you're trying to get to your first $100,000 a year in revenue, that's where the Carrot ecosystem is here to serve you. Okay, Epic is once you get revenue and once you get consistency. If you're not there yet, amazing. Go through our training to get your Google pay-per-click going, get your SEO going, get your leads cranking. Go through our marketplace to hire or have people do some of those things, delegate some of those things on the marketing side. But get your first 100K, get your first 300K. Our Carrot ecosystem will help you get there. Our Evergreen Marketing Show will help you get there. The Evergreen Marketing Facebook group will help you get there. Once you cross over that, you want to make your business better, that's where Epic comes in. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this, and then we're going to wrap into a close here. Is one of the biggest mindset shifts I've had to make in recent years that I wish I would have known far sooner. Is that thing I mentioned before, that I'll say, hey, I delegated X to somebody. This person owns this. What does delegated X mean, or what does owns this mean? Did you delegate the task and the responsibility to actually just do the work, to write the blog post and launch it, to make the phone call? Or did you delegate the ownership, the accountability of the result, of the outcome? The person ultimately accountable for not just the task being completed, but it's actually the result that's going to happen. Okay. And so one of the tools that I've used and we're diving into with our Epic members It's called a RACI chart. Now, you can get this worksheet if you're watching this on the video side of it. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I'd encourage you, go to carrot.com/epic growth, and you can grab all these resources from this series. But on this RACI chart, I want you to grab this chart, and this one's built for a wholesaling business. In our Epic program, we have them built for retail, real estate, for flipping, for home services, the whole thing. This is for a wholesaling business. First, we have the functions of the business over here. We have leadership, leads, acquisitions, dispositions, finance, ops, and admin. And then within each one of those functions, there's the core tasks or core duties that need to get done, right? In leadership, someone's got to make the vision. Someone's got to make the strategy. Someone's got to kind of manage the brand. In leads or marketing, someone's got to make the marketing strategy. If you want to do SEO, someone's got to do that work. And if you want to do paid, someone's got to have the plan and do the paid marketing. Okay, or the content marketing. Or on acquisitions, someone's got to evaluate the deal. Someone's got to be in charge of that, right? Someone's got to do seller negotiation. Someone's got to do the contracts and the seller coordination, and it goes on. The importance is, I want you to sit down, print this off, and ask the question, or write the name. Who's responsible? Like, who's the person that's supposed to be doing the work here? Okay, this might be you. So Michael, if this is you, you're like, well, me, I make the company vision. Who's accountable to that? Like, who's the person who has to make sure it gets done and you're accountable to the outcome? Well, you're accountable to that as well. And you're not going to have any consulted or informed here, maybe, or you might consult your team, or you might consult a coach, right? So then down here, strategy, and you might go, yeah, strategy is me as well, and accountable is me. And you know what? I'm consulting a coach here. A coach is helping me out here. Okay, great. Now we go into marketing. You go, marketing strategy. Yeah, that's going to be me still. Okay, if this, I'm talking a small company, might be you and a person or two maybe. But over here, you're going to be accountable. But maybe here now you're going, man, I don't want to do the organic SEO though. I'm going to have Johnny, this EA or VA, do this work for me. But I'm still accountable for it. I'm still going to be the one accountable to the result here. Okay, and I want you to go down and fill that out. Then I want you to bring that to Johnny. I want you to bring that to your team and ask them, before you show it to them, ask them, hey, Johnny, we're going to go through this together. I'm going to show you a blank version of this. I just want to ask the question, like, on the marketing side of things, I'm curious, who do you think owns the marketing strategy? Who do you think is responsible for building it and doing it? What about organic SEO? Go through all those questions. I want to hear what they think, because oftentimes there's a mismatch or there's not alignment on who owns what. It's those areas where there's lack of alignment is where you're having the problems. That's where you need to create that clarity. So if Johnny's like, well, dude, I thought that I actually was the one accountable for the organic SEO and that I could make the decisions. And you're like, oh, shoot, I thought you were clear that you were just doing the work, but any big decisions on SEO I was making. And then you have to sit back and think and go, okay, well, do I want Johnny to make the decisions or just do the work? And this might be a great opportunity. This is where we step into this model up here and say, you know what? I want Johnny to actually step into owning the outcome of SEO. Like, I want him to make the plan. I want him to, I'm going to set the goal. I'm going to set the target, but he gets to do everything else on that. Okay. He's responsible and accountable to the result of what we drive with SEO. And then you ask the question, well, shoot, what are the things that has to be true to give me confidence that Johnny can make that happen? And ask Johnny the same question. Hey, Johnny, I think there's a great opportunity for you to move into fully owning the outcome in this. What are the things that are in your way or that you have a lack of confidence on, or that you're just like, you're not sure? What are the things that we should work on to build your confidence, your 100% confidence you can fully own the outcome and the results of this? Or where do I get in the way, Johnny? Write those down and then go through this process. Document how you think about the marketing, how you think about setting the goals. And this is where you create guardrails. You go, Johnny, as long as it's within this guardrail, and you've got this budget and you need to generate this outcome, dude, you're good to go. Okay. Report these numbers to me weekly. We're going to have a weekly or every other week 30-minute meeting to kind of talk about where you're having challenges, but you're good to go, dude. That you own this. You're accountable. You're responsible for that number. You're going to report those numbers. And if we're off, I want you to tell me what you're doing to get them back. We good? Cool. Awesome. Let's set up those schedules on the weekly. That's how we start to delegate more effectively, y'all. Okay, the last step in that is, once again, is the process. And we're right at the hour, so I'm going to round this out here now. But this is the simple process template that I want to give you guys. is just use Google Docs. I can even show you a Notion template where we store these, and this is the Notion template we give our Epic members included in the program. That is the company dashboard. But I want to have you have a title. Hey, what is the title of this thing? It might be marketing department, and then it's content marketing or content creation or something like that. Okay. Purpose. What's the purpose of this thing? It's to dial in the process for how we create high-ranking blog posts. Awesome. Who owns this thing? It should be the person doing the work. It should be the person that is responsible for doing that work. They should be updating this as they go. And then link up any important links. That might be a link to a Carrot YouTube video or a Carrot training or a course that you purchased or something like that. Okay. And then I always use a table of contents. The cool thing with Google Drive is Google Drive just automatically creates a table of contents with a couple clicks, and it makes it way easier to navigate. And then just start to write the process out. And that's where you would have the other person document it ideally. Or if you like doing this stuff where you can pull back and do it, just do a Loom video. Record yourself doing a Loom video, and then have that team member take your Loom video and put it into writing if you need to. Okay. Or there's amazing AI process generation tools that I've seen where you literally just do the thing if it's on a computer, and it takes screenshots. It does it all, it makes the process for you. If it's not on a computer, take out your phone. Hey, this is Trevor. I'm actually going to walk through and document the process and how I call a seller. And I'm just going to hit record, and I'm going to have 5 good seller phone calls for the process. And I'm going to document, well, how do I open it? How do I close it? What are the questions I ask? Put that in paper. Okay, guys, this making sense? So I know I just threw an amazingly, I fire hose the heck out of you. Okay. I took a probably 2-hour or 3-hour master class on delegation, and I crammed it into 60 minutes because I will respect you guys' time, and I want to make sure that you get the value, but you're able to go and execute parts of this. I don't expect you to execute it perfectly, but pop in the comments box, y'all, before I go for a conclusion here. What is the biggest question you've got? Number one, because you've got to have questions, I'm sure. And then number 2, what is the biggest takeaway that you have so far on this training? Okay. So the first thing, guys, the key principles, we'll break them down, is we need to recognize those repeating tasks that drain our energy. Okay, go through the drip matrix, recognize those competing tasks, and make a decision. A decision. We need to go back up into deciding, not indecision, not staying in default, saying I'll just keep doing it because I've been doing it, and I want to avoid the pain and the challenge of delegation. Make a decision to say I'm going to get this off of my lap this quarter. It has to happen. No longer is it okay for me to do this work that drains my energy and stifles my ability to make the impact. Then I'm going to go bring a person in and have them document me doing it. Or if you want to, you can document yourself and put it into our template that I gave you. We need to save that, and now we need to delegate it. We need to bring a person in and bring them through those squares in clockwise order. And is it going to take a little bit of time? Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time up front, but I guarantee you it's going to save you 10 times the time that it will take you to do this process correctly versus doing it incorrectly and having to go back to that person and coach them and have frustration and go back and fix their work. And then you won't delegate things to them. That's going to take even more time. Then you're going to fire them. Then you have to hire somebody else. It's going to save you 10 times more to slow down and do this right than to do it wrong. Okay, then you need to transfer that ownership over to them, improve that over time and innovate and make it better. And then you're going to confidently be able to have people take things over, take things on, have you step into your genius, step into the things that give you the most energy, and really grow that business. All right, y'all, I want to have you go up into design. I want to have you transform that business, stay in success, stay above the line, get rid of below the line, get out of default mode. The way that we do that is you've got to make a decision. Wherever you want to go is on the other side of a few key decisions. If you want to build an amazing business, y'all, that gives you more energy and that grows and gets you through the pain lines faster, you have to decide that you're not going to do it all yourself. You have to decide that it is possible to hire team members to do work for you, and it is possible for you to learn how to delegate effectively. You have to make that decision. It doesn't mean it's not it's easy. It's still challenging, but you have to make the decision. And then you have to realize that as you make the decision, you're going to keep hitting pain lines. Okay, that's one of the beautiful things about business, y'all, is business is like, it's the best personal growth tool that I know of. best personal growth tool that I know of, because if you want to grow your business, you always have to grow. Right. If I want to grow these the revenue lines, I first have to grow. I have to grow through these pain lines. Okay. I have to grow through these pain lines. If I don't, the business will stall out. And then eventually I'll be in frustration, and then the business will decline. Okay. So you first have to grow. You first have to have a clear vision and purpose where you want to go. That's where we help you on the Epic side. Go through my vision story process, the business planning and 3-year vision process. We're getting ready to step into refreshing those in the Epic program over the next 2 months. It's helping you nail that business vision, helping you nail that personal vision, helping you nail design, and then helping you nail your 1-year strategic plan, and then find that right next thing to delegate off, and then get that going, buy that time back, and have fun. Okay. So guys, if you want to schedule that discovery call for one of the 5 or so, it's either 5 or 8 spots we opened up for the Epic program. We want to keep it small, intimate, and amazing. Just go to carrot.com/epic and put your information into that. You're going to hop on a call with Pete or Brent on my team, or QR code that bad boy. And you're going to go to a page where you can set up that call. It's not a sales call. I mean, there's the opportunity if you qualify for Epic to join Epic, but they're not going to come on there and hard pitch you. It's going to understand. They're going to be on there to understand your business, ask you questions, go through the business growth levels, and go, okay, cool. Well, here's how we can help you get where you want to go. All right. And then it's up to you. You can make the call. Yep. This is going to help shorten the path and get me there much more quickly. So I want to play a video. And then if there's any questions that you guys have, pop the questions in the comments box. We'll have time to answer a few questions here. And hopefully you got one nugget that you can take. I don't expect you to take everything you learned today and go do it perfectly now. I want you to pick one thing. It might be, man, I'm going to get more clear on when I delegate this thing, what am I asking them to own? Is it just the activity, the responsibility of doing the work, or is it actually the result? It may be something else. It may be, I'm going to take this and you know what? I'm going to do a much better job, but I'm going to have that person document the process for me and just take the pressure off of myself. And I'm just going to review it with them. Pick one thing to do this next month and then go execute that. The other things will fall in place. Let's listen to what Wyatt Johnson in the Epic program has to say.
Here at Epic, when it comes to choosing your coach, I think you have to take into consideration who you are and find a group that works with your personality, your tendencies, and your core values too. And that's the reason I'm here at Epic, is because people out there that can show you how to make money are a dime a dozen, but people out there that can show you how to help people make an impact and make money are really rare. And that's what I found in Epic, and that's why I'm here. And if that's what you're looking for, get into it, pay whatever cost it is, make the time for it. It'll pay off later. Once I got around Trevor, started getting that belief and everything, and then started using the tools that he provides for us, everything changed. So it went from business being like a grind and super hard work and something that you had to continually sacrifice if you wanted to get farther, to business being an opportunity for a better life and like a way to make things more enjoyable and have more fun and impact more people. And what that looks like on our company level, is we have way more processes, way more streamlined, efficient, making more money and having less headaches because of hiring an EA and training them well, like Trevor pushed us to do and showed us how to do and everything. Not taking on smaller deals, going through Trevor's next biggest check, exercise, all that stuff. It's just showed up in our business and improved the quality of the business, the money we're making, and the quality of life too.
Sweet. All right, y'all, guys. Wyatt's story is so fun because when he came in to the Epic program, he came in, like I said, I think it was around $300,000, $400,000 a year, and he was a rugged individualist. I'm going to do everything myself. I'm going to dive in, literally working 60+ hours a week, and had no clue how he was going to not work less but still grow the business. And so he was really, really kind of second guessing, do I want to grow the company, right? And I think that's a question that we all ask when we hit those challenging times in business. That's one of the questions that we all ask when we hit those pain lines at the 3s and 10s. Things break in our businesses at 3s and 10s. 100,000, 300,000, a million, 3 million, 10 million. It's right around those numbers. Things break, they stall out, things get hard. And those to me, yeah, they're challenges, but those are the cues to step into growth. You hit those spots because you currently right now are not the person who's capable of running a bigger business. So that's the thing to go, sweet dude, how do I now grow? Where do I need to grow that will now allow this business to grow? Now, something that I discovered and I've been saying for quite some time is your business will never outgrow your identity. Your business will never outgrow your identity. If you're operating your business the same way that you were when it was $100,000 a year, it will get stuck and it will eventually retreat back to where your identity is, where you think you're capable. The habits, the practices, the disciplines that you have, you've got to shift those. You have to adjust those. Okay. When we step into that, business doesn't get harder at bigger levels. When we build teams and do it right, business actually gets easier. Now, the opportunities are bigger. The problems are also bigger too. But my advice to you, and the advice I'm always giving to our Epic members, is I don't care how big your business is. I want your business to be exactly the size it needs to be to help you grow the business that fuels your life vision and helps you make the impact you want to make. Okay. If that's $300K a year, and that's going to get you the exact life that you want and make the impact that you want, that's exactly the business we're going to optimize. Okay, there's no benefit then for going up to $1 million just because you're in a mastermind and other people are at $1 million and you think, man, I need to be there too. No, that is not where we go in Epic. Now, if you have a bigger vision, you have a bigger impact, and growing a $3 million a year business is what helps you get there. Amazing. We're going to help you get there. We're going to help you grow through those pain lines. We're going to help you grow through those spots that get hard that all of us go through. 100% of us go through those. Okay. The major difference is we can either grow through it fast because we're choosing to get good at the right things like delegation at the right levels, or we can go through it slow because we were staying in default mode, sticking to what we've been doing, hoping that somehow the world is going to change around us versus us change inside. All right, guys. So if you want to hop on a call with our team, just go QR code that bad boy or go to carrot.com/epic and set up a call with Pete or Brent, discovery call, learn about the path that you can go on in the entrepreneur freedom formula and those growth levels. And then, like I said, they'll walk you through what the Epic program is, if it's a fit for you. We do weekly calls every single week. Either I'm on or another expert or an Epic member is on what we call impact calls. Those are Wednesdays. Okay, then once a month, we have our accountability groups. Those are called momentum meetings, the momentum groups. And once a month, we hop on, we split up into the groups, and we challenge you to have the hard conversations, to share what's working, share what's not working. That's the nucleus of what makes this work, y'all, is the groups, okay? And then quarterly, we go up into strategy. We do the mid-sessions, which is a virtual half-day event. We've got our next one in December to really help you blast into the new year. I bring on some of my baller friends who are the people you couldn't get access to. Okay, those are the people I'm bringing into the group. And then twice a year in between those ones in the quarterlies, we do the in-person intensives, which those intensives, guys, my aim with intensives is and has been and will be to make the best event you've ever been to. And that's my aim, is like when people come to these events, I go, I don't want this to be an event. I want them to literally leave and say, this is the best event I've ever been to. And we hear that over and over and over again because the transformation we focus on, because the people we introduce you to, because the processes we guide you through, and the way we challenge you to think differently. So, guys, if you want something new for the year, if you want something that's going to help you crack out of default, grow into the business that you want, go check it out, set up a discovery call. And if you're one of the 5 or 8 people that are fortunate enough to get into one of these spots that we're opening up right now, amazing. If not, guys, we're here for you. We're here for you in the podcast, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, or the Evergreen Marketing Show. We're here for you in the Facebook group. We're here for you in our YouTube channel. We're here for you in our customer experience team and our products. We're here to get you anywhere that you want to go. Engage in the Carrot ecosystem. We love y'all. Have an amazing, amazing week. And I don't see any questions popping up. Are there any that you see, Braden? All right, so this is your last chance, y'all. If anyone has a question they didn't ask before, there's the one question right here. So Bill says, questioning whether I can count on the freelancer to provide a reliable service. I try to design my, okay. So the freelancer question, that all comes down to you being really, really clear what you want. So we have to be really clear what outcome we're trying to drive to. Okay. Number 2 is we then have to go through and filter and don't just look for the lowest cost, because oftentimes when people look for freelancers, they oftentimes look for the lowest cost. Now, many times that lowest cost can be the most expensive option for you, because what if they mess it up, or what if it doesn't dial in the conversion the way that that an expert would, or what if it loses one deal over the next 2 years because something wasn't dialed in right, and that one deal was a $20,000 deal. That's a $20,000 cost by going with a low cost freelancer. Okay. So in my eyes, for the high leverage things like marketing, sales, I'm always going to go invest in the experts, because the experts are far cheaper in the long run than the low cost freelancers tend to be. Okay. And then the last question, God's Country Real Estate says time to train people that you're delegating to. And I'll finish on this. This topic here is it's more of a mindset once again. It's, you don't have the time not to delegate that thing off. Otherwise, you will get stuck. Okay, that mindset, that thought that you have popping up there, God's Country, it's the same mindset I've had over the years, so it's totally normal. But that mindset is default mindset. That mindset is me saying, I'm going to not make decisions. I'm going to stay in default mode, doing the same things I've been doing, being just as busy as I've been in the past, and I'm not going to do anything differently to get myself out of this. Okay. So as we bring a person in, we have to actually say, what is less important that I need to cut out of my schedule or my life that is not as important as me training this off to this person effectively? Because in delegation isn't a success just by hiring someone. I think that's where a lot of people get in that trap, is we celebrate the hire. Oh my gosh, I finally got to the spot where I found a candidate I like. Oh, delegate, we're here. That's the starting line, guys. That's not the finish line. That's the starting line. The starting line is, I hired the person. Now I need to drive towards the outcome, which the outcome is that you got your time back and you're confidently building your business with other people. Okay, that's the outcome. The outcome isn't the hire. The outcome is I got my time back. So now we need to drive towards that outcome by transitioning them into that ownership using the process I walked you through. Then you can pull back, and now you've got all this extra time. Okay, so it's just a mindset shift. Guys, hopefully this was valuable for you. Let me know in the comments box what you resonated with the most. And we will be back next week with the regularly scheduled Evergreen Marketing Show topics on marketing. And tune in every single Thursday at 11 o'clock Pacific time in our Facebook group community. It's community.carrot.com. Here in the podcast on YouTube, we're here to help you grow your business and have that business of freedom and impact. All right, we'll talk soon, guys.